I'm Ye. Welcome to America First. We got a great show for you tonight.
Kanye West was opening for Nick Fuentes' show, America First. And if the green screen situation is any indication of the quality of that show, not a great show. Not a great show. But it's more than the tech issues. It's also the fact that Nick Fuentes is a giant pile of garbage and openly says anti-Semitic, racist, and terrible things. And so perfect match for Kanye West to be there, I guess. So here's what happened. By now you're probably aware of Kanye's recent anti-Semitic comments. Those remarks did end up costing Kanye West all sorts of business deals. But they also earned him a vile new group of friends, including Nick Fuentes. Now, on November 17th, Kanye was spotted leaving dinner with Fuentes. And the following day, Nick Fuentes posted a cartoon of himself and Kanye shaking hands on Telegram. Then on November 20th, Kanye invited X17 Online Video to his studio for a video interview. And Kanye officially announced that he is running for president in 2024. And Milo Yiannopoulos is making a comeback because he will be serving as his campaign manager. And if you look closely at the video, you can spot Nick Fuentes in Kanye's studio. Now, on November 22nd, Kanye was spotted at the Miami International Airport with Fuentes. The two were traveling to Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with Donald Trump, because of course. And 2 days later, on November 24th, Kanye posted a video on Twitter in which he talked about what happened during that dinner. That was amusing. Let's watch.
Most perturbed about me asking him to be my vice president. I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, unlike so many of the lawyers and so many people that he was left with on his 2020 campaign, he's actually a loyalist.
Imagine being one of the top artists in the country and then devolving into that. Well, just to give you some more details about the dinner, according to the New York Times, during the dinner, according to a person briefed on what took place, Fuentes, as Kanye likes to call him, described himself as part of Trump's base of supporters. Trump remarked that his advisors urge him to read speeches using a teleprompter and don't like when he ad-libs remarks. Fuentes said Trump supporters preferred the ad-libs, at which Trump turned to the others, the person said, and declared that he liked Fuentes, adding, quote, "He gets me." Now, there was a lot of backlash toward Trump for having this dinner with two well-known anti-Semites, and we can talk about some of that backlash and Trump's response to it in just a moment. But Cenk, this, in my opinion, is the least surprising development of all time. I feel like 2024 is gonna be, in some ways, a repeat of 2016.
Yeah. Well, look, Trump's a white nationalist, and everybody keeps getting surprised that he hangs out with white nationalists.
Yeah, exactly.
So remember, during Charlottesville, they chant, "The Jews will not replace us," and he said there's very fine people on both sides. So we're surprised that he's meeting with like neo-Nazis. He said that they're very good people on that side. And I know what the big difference is from the Trump people. No, he was saying that about the people who love the Confederate generals that whipped and murdered and lynched black people. He said they were really good people on that side, celebrating those wonderful guys. No difference to me, none, okay? He celebrates vile racists and bigots, both from the past and today. Okay, so now when it comes to Nick Fuentes, so you understand why people are flipping out about him as opposed to the many other hateful people that Trump have met with. He has said that all the Jews should be thrown out of the country. He denies the Holocaust. By the way, he also says awful things about black people, of course. He says the military should occupy black cities, etc. But Kanye, being the self-hater clown that he is, he's like, oh, you think black people are inferior? Oh, great, wonderful. I got this great guy, Nick Fuentes, and I'm gonna bring him to the other clown that I know, and it's a three-ring circus. And by the way, guys, think about it, okay? So maybe some of you think, well, look, man, I don't know who a friend brought to a dinner the other day. Yeah, but that's because you're a rando, right? He's the former president of the United States. Shouldn't there be some process by which people are vetted? Remember, he had top secret and might still have some top secret documents at Mar-a-Lago. Neo-Nazis are walking in like la 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 la, no big deal, walking around the place, no security, nobody stopping anybody, and they just go sit down and have dinner with Trump. I know he's escorted by Kanye, but also Kanye is an obvious, admitted anti-Semite.
Yeah, so let me actually get to Trump's response to the critics. And one of those critics, by the way, happens to be his vice president, Mike Pence. We'll get to that in a moment.
And one of his critics is Ben Shapiro, who I'm going to magically agree with for the first time ever.
So first, here's what Trump posted on Truth Social. He's been melting down ever since the backlash began. Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, Jesus Christ, was asking me for advice concerning some of his difficulties, in particular having to do with his business. I mean, that's one of the biggest mistakes Kanye West could make. We also discussed, to a lesser extent, politics, where I told him he should definitely not run for president. And then he quotes himself, "Any voters you may have should vote for Trump." Anyway, we got along great. He expressed no anti-Semitism.
Oh, well, on that night, okay, well, thank you.
And I appreciated all of the nice things he said about me on Tucker Carlson. Why wouldn't I agree to meet? Also, I didn't know Nick Fuentes. I mean, I just knew that Kanye West had said a ton of terrible anti-Semitic things publicly and regularly. And I agreed to have dinner with him, but I didn't agree to have dinner with Nick Fuentes, allegedly. By the way, you're a former president. Don't you have Secret Service? And wouldn't Secret Service, wouldn't you be informed to some extent on who Nick Fuentes really is? You're just willy-nilly meeting with randos at Mar-a-Lago. Really? Really?
So a couple of things about that. Nick Fuentes is unfortunately relatively well known. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar have done events at his white supremacist conferences, and that was in the news a lot, right? Number two, Kanye is a mentally unwell person. When he brings a guy you don't know to dinner with the former president, not just Trump, but Secret Service, to Anna's point, should be like, whoa, 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 we don't know this guy at all. And he's being escorted by a well-known lunatic, right? But the problem is, everybody in the house is a lunatic. And so they're having a conversation inside an asylum. So as they're bouncing off the white walls, right? They're saying weirdo stuff to each other, but Trump assures us that at that dinner, Kanye was not at all anti-Semitic.
Thank God. And I mean, that makes it all better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you more from.
But hold on, let me just say one quick thing about that. So when Trump says the last part of that comment, but he said nice things about me on Tucker Carlson, why wouldn't I want him?
That's all that matters.
Think about it, guys. He's saying, you could wish DEFCON 3 on all Jewish people, and you could praise Hitler several times and say you look up to him. But as long as you say nice things about Trump, Trump likes you, because Trump doesn't care about anyone but himself. You could be the most racist, anti-Semitic, bigoted piece of crap in the world, and as long as you like him, he's good with you. And to be fair, he proved that already with Kim Jong-un, the worst dictator in the world. And he said, he wrote me a nice letter, so I like him now. In fact, he says he loves him.
Trump said also on Truth Social, quote, "So I help a seriously troubled man," meaning Kanye West, "who just happens to be black, yay, Kanye West, who has been decimated in his business and virtually everything else, and who has always been good to me." That's always the heart of what he thinks about people, right? Are they good to me? "By allowing his request for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago alone so that I can give him very much needed advice. He shows up with 3 people, 2 of which I didn't know, the other a political person who I haven't seen in years. I told him, don't run for office, a total waste of time, can't win. Fake news went crazy." Okay, so let's show you why people would, I don't know, not be so happy with Trump meeting with Kanye West and Nick Fuentes. Let's take a look at this compilation video. This is just a little taste of who Nick Fuentes really is.
Maybe just get rid of Congress altogether after that happens. Here's the pathway. We have one more election where white people can make the decision. The white people got to make the right decision, and then Trump's got to get in there and never leave. I don't believe in democracy. I do not believe in universal suffrage. I don't support women's rights. I don't support LGBT rights. I believe in race and gender essentialism. I'm Catholic. I'm a Catholic reactionary. I believe that organized Jewry is extremely influential in the United States. We need to go back to burning women alive more. The Jews had better start being nice to people like us, because what comes out of this is going to be a lot uglier and a lot worse for them than anything that's being said on this show or has been said on this show. These left-wing people, in their heart of hearts, they know they're wrong, because like they know that black people are violent. You know, I will say, hey, black people are violent. And then they'll go, I bet you wouldn't say that in front of a black person. Why? Because they're a thug that'll hit me. Hitler was a German statesman. Not even joking this much, I would prefer Taliban rule in America to this. You want to know why? Because at least if black people were fighting at the airport, they would get their hands cut off.
Gee, I wonder why people would be upset that Trump would take a dinner meeting with someone like Nick Fuentes. And I don't believe for a second that Trump didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. I don't believe for a second that he didn't expect Nick Fuentes to be there. I just don't buy it. I don't believe it. This is what he does all the time. It's always the BS plausible deniability line.
Well, the first thing I tweeted over the weekend when I first saw that was like, Bernie Sanders doesn't accidentally wind up at a dinner with white supremacists.
Right.
You know why? Because he doesn't know any white supremacists. He doesn't know any bigots. He doesn't know the anti-Semites. Not to say that he doesn't know a single person and is unaware of it, right? But it's that Trump hangs out with people like that all the time. Kanye West is the best known anti-Semite in the country at this point. It's not like it was like a surprise to him. Would an anti-Semite bring another anti-Semite to dinner? Very, very, very likely. Okay, so that's why he's like, oh golly gee, did the guy who hates Jews bring someone else who hates Jews? Oh God, I couldn't have seen that coming. I mean, come on, this is absurd. And if you notice, they keep referring to Kanye running for president. Who cares? I mean, the guy's gonna get 3 votes like he did last time. He's a literal lunatic, okay? But for them, since they live in an asylum, that's a perfectly rational conversation. And Kanye asked Trump to be his VP. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Not completely detached from reality.
Oh, he didn't
and then
like
Trump,
that.
you could tell in his 2 comments, caught feelings over that. And he's like, well, I was giving him business advice. Dude, you had 6 bankruptcies. Everything is in an alternate reality, like where he's a great businessman. You've lost all $400 million twice. 2 different times you lost $400 million. You're the worst businessman in America. But in his world, he's like, and I wanted to tell Kanye, now of course he shouldn't run for office because I'm running for office and he's gonna take voters away. Guys, you're having a nonsense conversation. The real issue is you're all deeply hateful pricks. And unfortunately, one of you is in charge of one of the major parties in America, still to this day. And lastly, the Republican voters get by far the majority of the blame. Guys, you don't know Trump?
They know.
You know.
They know.
You know, and Trump himself has said 1,000 anti-Semitic comments.
Yep.
And you love to hide behind the fact, oh, his son-in-law is Jewish. Oh yeah, some of his top advisors are Jewish. No, he's constantly saying that they support Israel instead of America, that they like to negotiate and renegotiate deals, anti-Semitic tropes nonstop. And for the Republican voters though, as they see that monster at Mar-a-Lago, they don't think it's the bug. They think it's the feature that he hates all those groups. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.